Thank you, Chairperson. So we've seen, I expected a lot of fixation failures to be shown, and therefore I kind of took a little liberty and thought that I'll just cover proximal humerus fractures. And if those failures that you've seen in young bones, I felt that going back to the fixation technique would be revisiting those. There are youngsters in the audience, would be a better thing to cover. So this is going back to 2004, pathologist's mother, and at that time the only plate that they had launched was the proximal tibial plate. This is what we opted to do with this: good bone-to-bone contact, good valgus, and that fracture went on to unite. So in these presentations, we just revisit what are the indications, where would you use an internal fixation, hemiarthroplasty, what are the outcomes. These are challenging problems, but there are two groups of patients: the younger group where you want to get good function, preserve the head, versus the elderly who would want pain relief with limited restoration of function. So challenges are multiple: the surface, joint surface itself, the bone quality, the demand is less, mental status are all the challenges. The classification, instead of going to the near classification, I found this is useful. Is the tuberosity intact? Where is the displacement and comminution? So is it a varus posterior medial comminution? Is there a dissociation, disengagement of the neck? Surgical neck fracture, impacted fracture? What is the status of the head? Is it dislocated? Is it a split head? Or is there an impression from a dislocation? So the current indications now for fixation in my book, in the elderly particularly, is the humeral head fractured and dislocated? Is there a compression? Is the head in pieces? Fracture pattern, is there a dissociation? Then if the answer to that yes is, I would fix in these scenarios, and I don't hope there are no major objections to that. If it is no to those questions, then you want to do a reconstruction or a reverse. So can you do an adequate reduction in this? Is there a possibility of a AVN, particularly in a head dissociation or a valgus impact? And can I, in these elderly population, do an augmentation with my fixation? You obviously need to do a proper CT evaluation, making sure that you understood the fracture fragment, and look at the physical ability of these elderly patients and don't go with the numbers. There is a role for non-operative treatment, and there is a large series of cases shown that non-operative treatment versus Hemi, the results are equivocal. Maybe the pain level is less in a hemiarthroplasty. Be prepared to change your treatment in case if there is a secondary loss of reduction. So how do you evaluate in this scenario? You look at the rotator cuff. Is it good to take a hold of your traction? Tuberosities, are they big enough to hold your sutures? The head, can it take 20 millimeter? Is the bone thick enough to take your screws? It needs to be at least 20 millimeter. The head shaft relationship, meaning can you anatomically reduce with adequate support in the calcar area? And before you embark on your fixation, make sure you have a provisional stable reduction before you start. So this case, a 68-year-old gentleman with a porotic bone. This is the posterior medial and a GT fracture. CT showing that. Valgus reduction. And at 1 year, a good union. So what are my steps of what I go through this meticulously for every case of mine? The position is a beach chair position, deltopectoral or a lateral approach, whichever you prefer. Lock plates and additional screws or sutures if there is a split head. The C-arm comes from the front. Deltopectoral incision, I take 4 sutures, subscap 2 in the infraspinatus. Try and get a valgus reduction. Now how do you assess a valgus? The proximal head looks like a top of a beetle. So you need to show that that gets in proper valgus position. So in a right shoulder, it should be a 10 to 4 position, and in the left, 2 to 8. So you need to kind of, every X-ray, you need to see that position every time. Then you go ahead and do your provisional fixation. Try and get the fixation from anteromedial to posterior lateral, because then it won't come in your way. The sutures also help you in maintaining that valgus position. Again, see the position of the proximal head. Try and get the sutures, infraspinatus and the subscap under, so it's like an egg holder holding the head so that it doesn't sink in. And then you have your fixation. Get the plate placed properly antero-posteriorly as well as superior-inferiorly. That's your fixation going in. Placement of the Calcar screw. Try and get that screw in. I recognize there are small patients where the plate may have to go a little sticking up, but the Calcar screw is important. The next more important screw is don't be in a hurry to pull the bone to the plate. See whether you need a push screw or a plate pull screw, and then complete your fixation with the sutures tied over. And every time meticulously go about doing this. You should not be able to see those fixation failures that were discussed in proximal humerus. So what about the screw technique? These are the things that I do. I only drill the outer cortex, then push my depth gauge into to feel the subchondral bone. If it is your non-cemented screw, 4 millimeter short. If it is your cemented screw, 6 millimeter short. Check the length of the screw before inserting. Make sure that your trajectory of the screw goes in the same way as your drill as well as your depth gauge. Place the Calcar screw to a level that it is meant to be and use as many head screws as possible. The fixation failures are more in the ones where there is valgus. So what if there is the head is very osteoporotic? This is the case. It is a varus posteromedial comminution. I went about and did my standard technique. The reduction was not coming in spite of screws. Now what do you do at this stage? So I ended up using an allograft, shaped it like the undersurface of the humeral head and punched it in. So there's a good structural support. That's the plate in position, both standard in AP and lateral. And that's the intra-op range of movement that you achieved at the end of the fixation. So that's the position post-op, 6 weeks, and at 6 months, the fracture went on to heal. So basically, I'm suggesting is the same principle applied. Try and repeat that again and again. In an osteoporotic bone, another technique which I saw, a paper that came out from the US, was using this as a French fries or finger fries technique where they make these allograft, put that in, and then complete your fixation. Additionally, as discussed in the meeting, you could also use an anterior or a posterior screw plate, a 1/3 tubular plate if there's a comminution posteriorly. Remember the tilt, if there is a tilt in the head, in the sagittal plane, that will also add to your weakness. So augmentation with screw is another option. So complications are there, and all of us have seen this, screw loss of reduction, screw penetration. This is another case where head split has happened, and this is one of my cases, reconstruction of the head with screws, plate in. Now that top screw was a touch too long, and if this collapses as it did, then the screw will penetrate out. So try and make sure that that top 2 screws use a short screw configuration, and maybe you could probably use a cement also, and that's the range at 3 months. What about the role of nail? Good implant. I specifically use it for 2, maybe a 3-part fracture. The top of the nail also acts as an anchoring point, as in this case, osteoporotic bone, 2-part with a fragment. The entry point is critical. Get the nail in, and that's the fixation at 6 months. The outcomes, it is more biological, but it is more, you need to get your entry point accurately, otherwise you could be in trouble. So the results between the plate and nail, equivocal, maybe for a 4-part plate might be a better option. Replacement, when the head is very thin, osteoporotic bone, hemiarthroplasty in my book. Maybe the arthroplasty surgeons may want to do a reverse, but this is also a good option in the low demand. What about this? If you don't follow the principle as it was done by a very a competent senior trauma surgeon. This again would be an outcome. And remember the Beetle sign, you can't leave it in that much varus. These are bound to fail, and this required a revision. So these are your indications for a reverse. I'll just run through. Arthroplasty versus non-operative. The last case of mine, a long saga, split head, dislocated. This is the days of the PHLP 2007. Lasted 2 years, went into AVN, screw penetration, complaining of pain and difficulty in motion, reverse, fractured at the reverse, and then a plate to put in. So these are the challenges that we say. Who's failing? Probably a combination of failed surgeries is, I would probably blame it on. Failed implants, maybe we can get these cannulated implants, but I worry that when you inject the cement, you'll end up leaking the cement into the joint also. So beware of that as well. So at lot levels, analysis of the fracture, implant and surgery is important. So my take-home message is these fractures are very challenging. You have the options of a plate versus a nail. Arthroplasty is a reasonable option when you can't reconstruct the head properly. Otherwise, if you pay attention to all the details, you can still get a good outcome and salvage the humeral head even in the elderly osteoporotic bone. Thank you very much.